Am I the a-hole for using my husband's money to pay for my daughter's Apple iPhone that he broke? My daughter is 16. She had her old phone for 5 years and always wanted a new phone. I'm the only one working right now since my husband decided to take a break from work after he inherited some money from his dad. I saw that she did pretty good at school despite having mental health issues that had gotten in the way of her focus before her. And so I decided to keep her encouraged and reward her by getting her an Apple iPhone that cost a good sum of money. I did my best to save money to buy it. I literally skipped paying for breakfast at work to be able to afford it. And my husband didn't want to help, so I was on my own. I bought her the iPhone, and quite honestly, I haven't seen her this happy in a while. It was refreshing for me because she really went through some hard time in the past couple of years emotionally and mentally. My husband wasn't happy with us as he said the iPhone will only distract her from school and chores. But that wasn't true. In fact, it encouraged her to do more. But he still said I shouldn't have spent that kind of money on an iPhone that she might be irresponsible with and break. My daughter picked up on his attitude towards the iPhone, but I told her to ignore him. Days ago, I found out that he broke the iPhone. I asked why, and he said he asked her to get him something from the toolbox in the garage, but she was on the iPhone and ignored him. He used this incident as evidence that the iPhone was bad influence, but I yelled at him and demanded he replace it. He said he wouldn't, so I took money out of his account and paid for a new iPhone and gave it to my daughter. He saw what I did and went off on me, calling me vicious and awful, and accused me of stealing his father's money and demanded the money I took, every single penny back. I basically told him it won't happen. Then he got his mother on me saying I'm setting a terrible example for my daughter by getting her a phone paid for with money that I stole from her dad. My husband said he won't speak a word to me till I fix this, but I already said I owe him nothing. Am I the a-hole for this? Edited to add, no. He's her biological father, not stepdad. And price for the iPhone where I live is $1,000 and it's not cheap. Finding out that I took $1,000 out of his inheritance really got him so furious that he said I was the worst woman he met in his life. He had 2 ex-wives if this is any way relevant. He took it back later, then said he won't speak till the money's back. Now for the top comments. Sounds like you need to save up for a divorce. Run. Run, don't walk. Contact DA survivor groups in your area and plan an escape route. Things like this do not happen in a vacuum. To purposefully break someone's belongings because their actions anger you. This is so abusive and controlling, and it's just a massive red flag. How can Opie's daughter feel safe around a parent who resorts to damaging their property? What's next? Her bedroom door? Not stay home. Making him pay for an item he deliberately broke, especially when he knew how hard you saved to buy it, is perfectly acceptable. Extremely concerning facts. 1. Felt it was acceptable for him to break a valuable possession of your daughter's as punishment. 2. That he felt running to enlist aid from his mother and berating you is a good idea. 3. Thinks the silent treatment is an acceptable form of punishment. This really needs to be dealt with, and you absolutely need to make sure your daughter is not being treated badly as part of your relationship problems. Get couples counseling immediately or reassess the marriage, but don't let your daughter get put in the middle. Also add, 4. Doesn't work but can't get own tools from toolbox. I'd bet money did this intentionally knowing daughter was on phone to justify breaking it. He didn't really need anything. 5. Doesn't appreciate his own daughter's hard work and commitment to achieving her goals. What a piece of turd. And also, though I know a lot of people split finances, it rubs me the wrong way that he inherited enough to not work for a while and hoards all the money. I know people will come after me about this probably since it is his inheritance, but I could not imagine inheriting enough money to not work and then watch my hubby skip meals to save money. It's just wrong to me. Next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for letting my fiancé fend for himself after he constantly compared me to his mom? My fiancé had a heart attack and required an open heart surgery 2 weeks ago. He just got home a few days ago and I'm caring for him. A little backstory. His mom and I don't have a good relationship. Since the beginning of my relationship to my fiancé, his mom would constantly try to compete with me and one-up me on everything. She always claimed that she would be the first woman in my fiancé's life because she birthed and raised him, and how I can't break their bond. For the most part, those comments were unprovoked, and at first I would be too scared to defend myself. But later I stood up for myself, and my fiancé stood up for me and established some boundaries with his mom. His mom sometimes crosses some of those boundaries, but for the most part, she's been acting a bit better. During his stay in the hospital, both I and his mom took turns staying with him. Ever since we got home, I'm the one caring for him 24/7. And I don't mind. I love him and I want him to get better. But I got extremely upset because after we got home, he was being ungrateful about everything. He started comparing me to his mom. He started saying his mom would do X thing better, and why can't I do it like his mom since that's how he likes it. He gives backhanded compliments to the foods I make, and says it's good, but not like my mom's. He sometimes also snaps at me because I won't do something quick enough or properly enough, and he will tell me words like, "I wish my mom was here. She wouldn't be so useless. Just tell her to come here if you can't do these basic tasks." I was patient with him because I didn't want to upset him during his recovery. But what made me lose my mind and leave the house was when he told me that his mom was probably right when she said she would be the first woman in his life, since she'd care about him better than I do. And how it was a mistake establishing boundaries with her, and that I was the one he should have established boundaries with. After this comment, I didn't think twice. I just packed 2 clothes on my handbag and left and went to stay at my cousin's house. He called me and said I'm an a-hole for leaving him home alone while he's recovering, and that I should have at least called his mom first so she'd come. I told him he should call her and it's none of my business anymore. My parents told me I was out of line leaving him to fend for himself, and that is right that I should have called his mom first, and how I'm the a-hole for making this about me when my fiancé's recovery should be my priority. Not the a-hole. Go back, pack the rest of your stuff and leave him for good. He's showing his true colors. A mama's boy will always be a mama's boy, and you'll always come second. For all these years, he was an amazing partner who was able to set all the right boundaries to his mom. I don't know what changed now. It is switched that fast. Nothing changed. This is who he is. It's easy to put up boundaries when things are going well. I have sympathy for him in terms of his recovery from surgery, but ultimately it's difficult circumstances that really test a partner's willingness to maintain said boundaries. If he can go back on his word this time, he'll do it again. Exactly. Sure, the surgery is a huge emotional and painful process that can bring out the worst in some people, but it sounds like he has adjusted his true self long enough to lock Opie into marriage and kids. Once that happens and Opie is tied down, Mommy will take over his life again. Not stay home. Also, run. Call off the wedding. He can marry his mom since he doesn't get the difference between wife and mother. Oh, trust me, he gets the difference. He just wanted to switch it to his benefit each time. All these years, his mom was useless to him, so he was perfectly fine setting boundaries with her. Suddenly, he started missing the mommy care and switched me to the bad guy because I was not an exact copy of his mom. Because he thought he'd replaced her. Up to now, you've probably met his mom expectations, and this is the first time you haven't. This will never stop. Next story. Am I the a-hole for asking my mom for an heirloom ring to propose to my girlfriend with? I never thought my asking would cause such a problem, but here we are. It wasn't my intention to cause such a problem, and I would like to know if I'm the a-hole because of my request. My mom has a ring she inherited from her mom. It belonged to her grandmother and has always been passed down the line. My mom doesn't have any brothers or sisters, and I only have a brother and not any sisters. My mom always said one of us could have the ring to give to our future wife if we wanted. When my brother got engaged to his wife, she didn't like the ring, so my brother gave it back to our mom and bought a different one to re-propose with. When I was getting ready to propose to my girlfriend, the ring was still available. I asked my mom if I could have it for my girlfriend. She agreed, and my girlfriend ended up loving the ring. She can't wear jewelry at her job. She's a surgical nurse, but she wears it the rest of the time. My brother went bonkers when he found out I gave the ring to my girlfriend when he saw our engagement photo. First he said I didn't have the right because it was his, or his wife's. But neither of them wanted the ring. I gave it back to my mom for crying out loud. My mom wasn't upset that my sister-in-law didn't want it. She figured she didn't like vintage and might prefer a modern ring. My brother proposed in 2010 and a ring hasn't been mentioned since then. But my sister-in-law is mad now that my girlfriend has the ring. But again, she didn't want it. She exchanged her engagement ring a couple of years back for a different one. So I don't know if she just can't make up her mind or what, but in 2010, she didn't want mom's ring. My brother accused me of being a cheapskate, except that he proposed with a ring too back then. If my girlfriend didn't like it or it didn't exist, I could have afforded a ring. The ring isn't particularly valuable besides sentiment. Now they want me to ask my girlfriend for it back and return it to our mom. I haven't told my girlfriend anything about how furious my brother and sister-in-law are because I don't want this to bring bad feelings about the ring. My brother claims I stepped on his toes and that it wasn't cool, which I don't understand why they care after all this time. Both of them are very angry at me, and I honestly don't understand if I broke some unwritten rule or they are overreacting. Am I the a-hole? Be honest. If it turns out I'm wrong, I'll accept it. Now for the comments. Not stay home. Mom, hey son number 1, do you want this thing? Son number 1, no thanks, I don't. You keep it. Son number 2, hey, can I have that thing? Mom, yes, you can. Son number 1, that's mine. He's like a toddler who only wants something because someone else is playing with it. My kids do exactly this, but they're 6 and 2. Yeah, I was going to say this sounds like my 6 and 3-year-old. But like, it's something they get chastised for, and we actively work on them not being petty like that. Not stay home. If brother had proposed with it, sister-in-law then said she wanted something different for her engagement ring, but liked the ring and otherwise wanted to keep it to hand down to their children. Then it would have been inappropriate for Opie to ask his brother for the ring. But the ring was given back to the mother. Brother didn't keep it, so it's fair game. Not stay home. They're out of their damn minds. If, and that's a big if, they planned on giving it to, say, a future daughter, if they even had one, they should have said something to your mother. There is no reason your girlfriend shouldn't keep the ring. Do not give the ring back. There are no take-see-backsies here. Tell them to get bent. They don't have children. They don't want the ring as an heirloom because there's no one to give it to after them. But they say it is rightfully theirs, and it should go back to our mom. Yeah, then they're on some weird power trip. Do they not like your girlfriend? I just don't know where the entitlement could be coming from. Have you asked them? They have never met her before, so I don't know. He just claims on repeat it was rightfully his because he's the oldest, and it was earmarked for him, even though he ignores the parts where he gave it back. Not stay home. I hope your fiancé wears it everywhere and posts it in every picture imaginable on Instagram and shows the entire world because she loves it. I hope you guys make it your lock screen photos and use it on your invitations. I hope you have a giant seating chart and the ring is in the background image, and I hope your brother and sister-in-law have to face it while they eat. I hope your cheesy wedding slideshow has the ring flying through the screen as a screen wipe. I hope you get it goddamn tattooed to your bicep so you can literally flex on your brother every time you see him. Even if you did every single one of these things, you still wouldn't be the a-hole because you gave back the ring to your mom, making it your mother's ring that she gave to you. Last story. Am I the a-hole for paying for my brother-in-law's rehab but not my sister-in-law's needed surgery to test for cancer? I'm 28 female, my brother-in-law is 32 male, and my sister-in-law is 46 female. My brother-in-law is hands down one of the best people I know. He is a gentle giant with the biggest heart, who would take the shirt off his back to help you. 4 years ago, he was overtaken by grief after the passing of his daughter, aged 4, and unfortunately turned to bad habits to grieve. I did not have the financial capabilities to help him with rehab, but I made it work. I put a lot of our stuff up for sale, and with the help of the community, I was able to put him through a rehab a little over a year and a half ago. And so far, he is doing great. He is home again now, and we make sure that we are there for him through the really hard days. His daughter's birthday, death day, and holidays. My sister-in-law, on the other hand, is a person who asks for handouts constantly and never returns the favor. Every time she knows I have money or got a bonus, she will say things like, "So, what are you going to buy your favorite sister-in-law?" Or, "You can get me this since you have the money." She knows I'm currently in a really good position financially after landing a promotion with a significant pay raise 4 months ago. Now, here is the thing. My sister-in-law cried wolf too many times. Last year, she pulled a pity train on her Girl Scout leaders. Her daughter was in the group, stating that she had mastitis or something, and they gave her a bunch of funds from the Girl Scouts bank account to help her, and it turns out she never even had it. She just used the money to buy a new sectional couch and electronics. This time around, she supposedly has a massive lump on her ovaries, and they are worried it may be cancerous. So she needs a biopsy and she can't afford it. Both her and her husband make damn good money and she has health insurance, but she calls and asks me if I can loan her $5,000 for the surgery startup, and I straight up said no. She asks why, and I told her because every year she comes up with a new medical problem and weasels money out of people. And without proof, like paperwork, I don't believe her. She says I'm an a-hole for thinking she is lying. And since I helped pay for her brother's rehab, saying I should be more understanding because this is more serious, and that brother-in-law made his bed and should have laid in it, whereas she didn't do this to herself. The rest of the family thinks I'm out of line as well, except for my husband who is on my side 100%. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. Also, it is none of their business how much money you make or doesn't make. I would have discussion with your spouse about you no longer wishing to discuss your finances with them. They don't need to know this info. She works for the same company as me. That's how she knows about my financial state. She applied for my position, so she needs a salary. Does she also have insurance through the same company? If so, why would her copay for a biopsy be $5,000? Are you sure she's not trying to get cosmetic surgery? Not that it matters. Your money, your call. Not they all. I actually question this. So admittedly, our health insurance kind of sucks. We have really high copays and deductibles, and just for basic family insurance, it is $250 a paycheck. So I personally go through another provider and just pay out of pocket. And I have told her to do the same, but she doesn't want to deal with the hassle of it, claiming it is tedious. On to the cosmetic end. I questioned whether or not this actually might be for a tummy tuck or liposuction. My sister-in-law is severely overweight, pushing 450, and has talked about these surgeries multiple times.